just getting into our questions for today, I have to ask you, Justin, what do you think, or who do you think was the biggest culprit for the loss yesterday?
I got 2 words for you. Ready for this?
Yep.
Shane Waldron.
There you go.
And honestly, when we had our last show, I was like, yeah, there were some questionable plays, but like I think from fully watching it from beginning to end of yesterday's game, oh God, what are we doing? I mean, it's just I don't understand how you could run the same play over and over again and not think that defenses will read on it, right? I mean, obviously, yes, we know that we have a rookie quarterback and he's still figuring things out, but that's no excuse. Like I said earlier, before our Colts game, we only had 1 offensive touchdown in 11 NFL quarters. And it's not like we played, yes, our first game was against Tennessee. Sure, first game jitters. But our second game, against Houston Texans, AFC contender. Third game we played was a non-AFC contender, and you would have thought we would have ran we would have ran all over them, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like for me, we have potential to be better, but our play calling has to match that, right? And I mean, watching that terrible 4th down option, read option or the
speed option?
Speed option. There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally watching at the screen like, what are we?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And it's just boneheaded plays like those, and I'm just like, so it's not the player's fault. It's the play call.
Yeah, that play had no chance. You could have had Cam Newton and Walter Payton, and that play wouldn't have worked.
You could have had Tom. Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Put any quarterback. I mean, unless we're playing Madden NFL 25, there's no
on rookie mode.
Rookie mode, right? So it's I just didn't understand it. I mean, for me, if I'm GM Ryan Poles, I'm putting Shane Waldron on speed dial. I'm telling him to pack up his stuff.
Send him to the XFL. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Shane Waldron, get ready to learn XFL, buddy, because you are maybe high school football. I'll demote you even lower.
Yeah.
Because you're never gonna see this, but if you do, I hope you do. But I hope you do watch this, Shane Waldron.
I'm slamming you professionally, and I hope you see this.
No. Or I was thinking last night. I don't know if you ever watched WWE. What is it? Is it SmackDown?
SmackDown.
And they had the GM would always be like, "You're going one-on-one versus Undertaker." Well, I feel like Shane Waldron is going one-on-one with unemployment because why are you on this team, bro? You are trash.
Well, and I'll say this too, like part of the offensive coordinator's job, or whoever runs the offense for your team, you want to come out with a good game script, right?
Yes.
We know a lot of times the first couple of drives, maybe even the first quarter, are scripted from the offensive play caller.
Correct.
That's why we see teams like the 49ers, the Packers, the Chiefs, that always look good in the first quarter because these plays are scripted and they're studied. We come out, we will look terrible in the first quarter. And that's the game script. Like that's before any of the adjustments based on what the defense is doing, based on what we're doing, injuries, whatever.
Yeah.
Our game script is bad.
Yes.
Like we start off the game looking terrible, and that's what you have prepared all week to start the game as. So then you're already playing from a deficit. Your offensive line sucks. You can't run the ball. You're running the same boneheaded plays, time in and time out. It's disappointing. But I will actually counter with you, and I will say the biggest culprit for the loss yesterday was Matt Eberflus. Now, and I had an epiphany yesterday, and I want to run this by you because I think it's important to talk about. I'm sitting on my couch yesterday, and I'm watching the Bears game. And on my laptop, I have Red Zone, and I'm checking on what's going on throughout the league. And I see the Packers, led by Malik Willis, their backup quarterback, who they acquired, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely dominate the Titans, a team that we barely escaped. Okay. I'm watching the Vikings with Sam Darnold, who was considered one of the biggest busts of the last, 5-10 years. Throw for 4 touchdowns.
And rip
demolish the Houston Texans, who demolished us last week in Houston. Oh, I'm sorry, it was in Minnesota. I take that back. 34-7, threw 4 touchdowns, looked like Joe Montana. And then I'm watching the Detroit Lions with Jared Goff, who is a good quarterback, but he's limited, handle the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's something missing about the Bears that all these teams got. You know what it is? It's good coaching.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell, say what you want about Dan Campbell, he changed the culture in Detroit.
Oh, for sure. Okay?
Matt LaFleur is rocking with Malik Willis, who some people didn't even think could play the position a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
2 straight wins. Kevin O'Connell, like I said, has turned Sam Darnold from a bust into 80s Joe Montana. And that's what good coaching does. You take this group of players and you get them to their peak performance. Sam Darnold always had talent. He just could never put it together, right? Malik Willis is a good athlete and has a strong arm. Couldn't put it together. With good coaching, they've been able to put it together, and they've been able to be successful, and they've been able to win games. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Matt Eberflus doesn't do that.
No.
He doesn't get the most out of his players.
No.
He doesn't scheme to their strengths. He doesn't coach them to be the best of their ability. And it's pretty clear that the Bears easily have the 4th best coach in their division. And I don't know about you, Justin, but I can't think of a lot of division winners or playoff teams that have the 4th best coach in their division.
Right.
And so the Bears, I think, are just extremely behind the 8 ball. And this goes back to the conversation of should the Bears have fired Matt Eberflus last offseason. Caleb Williams was coming in. You know, we knew that they were going to have a lot of assets to rebuild this team personnel-wise. And I think it's clear that Matt Eberflus is not going to make it to next season. And then you're talking about, well, then Caleb Williams in year 2 already is on his 2nd head coach and with his 2nd offensive coordinator. And why do we keep making this mistake?
I don't know. And this is a great cut. I'm going to skip questions here. We'll come back to the other one.
Yeah.
Who do we fire first midseason? Obviously, I've never seen in NFL history both the coach and OC get fired in midseason. But if you're the GM of the Chicago Bears, who are you releasing first?
I think it's a domino effect because, I would say you fire Waldron first just because the defense does look good. Like, for whatever it's worth, Matt Eberflus, I think, has failed at a lot of aspects of coaching. But to be fair, his strength is defense, and the defense does look good.
It does.
So I think that's what gave him grace to make it into this season, and I think that grace would maybe extend a little bit beyond. But Shane Waldron, the offense looks putrid, and you have the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. You have good receivers, good tight end. He, I think, would be the first man on the chopping block. But don't mistake it. I think that Shane Waldron would be gone first, but I don't think that Matt Eberflus is making it to the end of the year. I take that back. I think he might make it to the end of the year, but I don't think he's making it to next year. Problem is, you got to think of like the McCaskies. I don't know if the Bears have ever fired a head coach mid-season. To my memory, that hasn't been the case. And they're kind of old school.
Yeah.
We know interim head coaches aren't necessarily always the best option. So I would let Eberflus ride out the year, but I think Waldron might be gone by Christmas. He might be gone by Thanksgiving at this point. We're rolling. We're getting into October in the next couple of weeks. He might not make Halloween at this rate. It is kind of sad. But I do want to ask you, and I'm gonna rephrase this a little bit.
Go ahead.
About our offensive line. And I know we talked last week, what do we do? I guess the better question maybe could be, how could we overcompensate for our offensive line? Because it's clear right now that our offensive line is bad.
Right.
It is clearly bad. First week, whatever. Second week, okay, they got destroyed. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's.
They say if you do something 3 times in a row, it's a habit.
Yeah.
This offensive line has a habit of being really bad, allowing a lot of pressure on Caleb, not being able to open up lanes in the running game. So I guess my question for you, Justin, is do we just say, all right, well, we're just going to kind of give up the run? Do we just kind of throw Caleb Williams out there 50 times a game to throw the ball? Should we stay committed to the run? Like what do we do with this offensive line? What's the plan going forward?
Honestly, because I have it in my notes here, keep things short. I think when we were running short throws and doing kind of anything that's, I would say any run or passing play that's in between 5 and 10 yards, right?
Quick, I'm talking about quick game.
Quick game, yeah, there we go. Keeping it quick, right? The biggest, obviously, it's not very exciting for a young quarterback to just do easy passes. But when we were doing them, we were fine. We were I forgot the stat you had mentioned last week about close throws. But it was he was
getting the ball in 2.5 seconds.
Right. Yeah. It was a high completion rate of when he was doing that. Right.
Yeah.
So I think definitely that until we can figure out this offensive line, that's the best we can obviously do at this moment. I would also say as well, during practice, hey, this is your life depends on it. I mean,
your life.
I mean, it does depend on it. Their careers do depend on them being able to block, right? And if I'm well, I don't want to be Shane Waldron. That's a scary thought to think about. But if I was Shane Waldron and I was, watching film of my offensive linemen, we're pointing out every single one. Hey, at this play you did bad, and I'm kind of wondering what is he doing? You can't be soft. You have to have the Dan Campbell mindset.
Yeah. Biting off kneecaps. Yeah.
Biting off kneecaps.
Yep.
Putting guys into the ground. I mean, whatever you got to do, you got to do it. But that's kind of my short-term solution of what I would do to kind of compensate for our terrible offensive line.
Just rip into them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best that we can do in this moment, right? I mean, obviously, I don't want Caleb to have to always feel like he has to get it out quickly every single time, right? You want your offensive line to give you maybe about a half a second more to be able to throw out the ball when you need it. But also at the same time, our offensive line can't hold well at all, right? So if we have to get the ball out quick and just, get those first and second downs. I mean, obviously our third down completion rate this season has been terrible, but when we do cross that threshold or when we do get to a brand new first down, it seems like it works when those short throws and passes work.
I saw a stat that was really crazy to me. The Bears' second down conversion rate to second down to first down is 8%, and I saw that the second worst in the NFL was the Panthers.
Oh god.
At 18%.
Oh gosh.
So we are 10% worse than the 2024 Carolina Panthers in an offensive category. That's cause for firing of everybody in the building on its own. The other thing to me that's so weird and so concerning, Ryan Poles was an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
he was an offensive lineman for the Bears. He should understand the importance of the trenches. I just talked about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell played tight end, but he's more of a blocking tight end.
He was
for the Detroit Lions. He understands the importance of the trenches. The Lions' offensive line is tremendous.
Yeah,
they have consciously made an effort to put great offensive linemen on the Detroit Lions. Why haven't the Bears done that? Now I understand Darnell Wright. Okay, you took him, 10th overall.
Yeah.
But what about the interior? What about the left tackle spot? I mean, Braxton Jones is a 4th, 5th round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting very, very lucky if you're rolling out a 5th round pick and he could be serviceable at left tackle. Right center. Honestly, first game of the year, I didn't even know who our center was. Right guard Matt Pryor. Who? It's been bad. The offensive line's been really terrible. But yeah.
Yeah, but let's stay on our offense. And Mike, I will ask you, did our QB1 Caleb Williams have the best game of this season? If they're obviously we have a lot of games left, but do you think this was his best game?
I do think it was his best game. Okay. I do think it was his best game. Listen, 64% completion rate, good, especially throwing 52 passes. Threw for a lot of yards. Yes, some of those were kind of, stat paddy yards like the Hail Mary to DJ Moore at the end of the half. But I thought by and large, Caleb is so phenomenal, and he's not getting enough credit for this. He is extending plays, and he's needing to. I mean, he's like a ballerina back there. He's doing 4 spins, and he's, hezzying the D lineman and whatever. He is buying himself a lot of time to throw the ball. He needs to work a little bit on the deep accuracy because there are some plays that he's just missing down the field. And I don't think it's a problem going forward. I think, again, he's jittery. He's trying to get the ball quick. When, you're getting pressured every play like he is, his internal clock is going so fast.
Yeah.
He's probably slipping in his mechanics a little bit. But I would like to see a little better deep accuracy. I would like to see the turnover, go away. But when you're throwing 52 times, you probably got to turn the ball over. That's one of the cons of throwing it that many times. On that one, the first interception he threw, he definitely got baited.
Yeah.
Second one, again, I thought it was a little fluky, but get rid of the turnovers, protect the ball a little bit more, and I think if he can start connecting on some of these magic plays. I mean, he had a play that was truly beautiful where he, rolled out to his left side, turned his body, flipped his hips, threw the ball, and it was a dart. I believe it was to Cole Kmet, if I'm not mistaken. It was to Cole Kmet.
Yes.
It was an absolute dart. So I was very, again, I've gotten more encouraged by Caleb as the season's gone on. I think he's improved each game, and that's what we want to see from a rookie quarterback. I'm not asking for, a 4-touchdown performance. I'm not asking for, you score 50 points a game. I just want to see continual improvement throughout the year. I thought he is exponentially increased each week, and so for that, I'm happy to see. But obviously he's not where he's going to be just yet.
No, not
under the
at all.
circumstances, how could he be?
Right, and just to add a short note on that, I agree, right? We knew coming in, and I think that's the overhype of media today is you expect the rookie to be Patrick Mahomes day one, and he will not be. I mean, I can't think of many Hall of Fame quarterbacks that were good in the first 5 games. Peyton
Manning threw 26 interceptions his rookie year.
Right, exactly.
I mean, come on.
And nobody ever really talks about that because he's won Super Bowls. He's in the Hall of Fame, right? But like I said, in our first little preseason view of this first episode, it's going to take time, and I think we're seeing improvement, which makes me feel good because I know
he's what matters. He's what matters. Eberflus and Waldron won't be here next year.
They won't.
Caleb was going to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
And I want to see him succeed. He's the most important
piece.
He's the most important piece of the future.
Yeah.
And so when he improves, I think that makes me feel more positive about the future of this team.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there. I think our last question, and this is it's going to get some people riled up, Justin. I think we'll both take a swing at this one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you think this Bears team or this Bears offense would be better if Justin Fields was the quarterback these last 3 weeks?
No. And here's why. I think for the first season of Fields, maybe the first 2 seasons, I was for him. I was like, yeah, this is our guy, yada yada yada. But no. The only reason why I say no is because I feel like for me, Caleb has a stronger arm than Justin Fields. I think for him, he did way too much or at least for the years that he was with the Bears. I want my quarterbacks to be passers. I mean, you can be a Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson had games where he was just a beast, just throwing darts, getting decent completion rates. And I just felt like Justin Fields just wasn't really doing that at all, right?
No.
I mean, I don't mind a mobile quarterback, but if you're rushing it more than you're throwing it, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And I love mobile quarterbacks. I love the Michael Vicks and the Lamar Jacksons of the world. But when it's time to stay in your pocket and throw and get yardage, that's what he's not doing. And everyone wants to say, well, Justin Fields 3-0 in the Steelers. Well, first off, the Steelers' defense has carried him, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth. And I think when you're you mentioned it about the NFC North, right? When you have better coaching, you look better. So of course Fields is going to be 3-0. It's Mike Tomlin and his crew. I don't expect anything less. But to answer the question, I say no. I think we would be even worse with Fields on the floor because it'd be Swift and Fields leading the rushing yards every single game, and I just don't want to see that. That's not what we need, especially with our offense and how terrible it is already. So.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't think we would be better with Justin Fields right now. I think that Justin Fields he always struggled reading the field. He always struggled making good, accurate decisions, getting the ball out quick. And I think, he would be running for his life at this point.
He would be.
He would, he'd be picking up first downs, and there'd be some highlight plays sprinkled in there. But overall, I don't think this Bears offense would function better as an NFL offense. Case in point, by the way, I mean, have you guys seen how good Darnell Mooney has been on the Falcons? He's been really good.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that good with the Bears, and I think that's a testament to kind of Justin Fields' inability to get him the ball. But no, I don't think the Bears would be better with Justin Fields. I think, quarterback record. If you want to talk about Fields' record on the Bears, I know he's 3-0 now, but his defense led up, I believe it was -3 yards in the second half to the Chargers without Justin Herbert. I mean, let's be real here. So, and credit to Justin Fields. I have no ill will towards him. He's played fine with the Steelers. I don't necessarily think that he's been playing out of his mind. I think he's been doing enough to win games with their defense. He's not been turning the ball over, which is good.
Yeah.
But like you said, good coaching will make you look a lot better. That is a department that the Bears currently lack in. And again, go to Sam Darnold. Look at what Sam Darnold's doing right now in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You guys, Sam Darnold was a joke for 5 years.
He was
a joke. And people thought he was going to be a joke this year with J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy tears his ACL. Sam Darnold, the starter for the full year. And he looks if the season ended today, Sam Darnold's the MVP of the league, which is unreal.
Insane. Yeah.
We're 3 weeks in. I understand that there's going to be an adjustment period. I get it. But Sam Darnold has looked phenomenal. So, no, I don't think Justin Fields would be better. I think that maybe it's a little smoke and mirrors right now of how good he looks.
For sure, yeah.
The fact that Caleb Williams in week 3 of his career had more passing yards in a single game than Fields ever had should tell you a little bit something about how much more advanced he is as a thrower of the football.
Yeah.
But you're right. Justin Fields every once in a while will have a 50-yard run, and then everyone's back. Yeah, everyone's back. And I listen, we were all victims of that on the Bears.
Sure.
He would struggle for 2 quarters, and then he would scramble out and score like a 40-yard touchdown, and we'd be like, "We're in.
Yeah.
He's the franchise."
Yep.
He's not. He wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Justin Fields is dead to you. It's like an ex-girlfriend that you want to break up with, but you just for some reason you just keep coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he does that to you.